And we're live. If you have been putting yourself out there, doing blog posts and newsletters, but you're really not getting any interest, and you're starting to feel like maybe it's because you chose a niche that just isn't profitable, that is what I'm going to support you around today. Or maybe you've been feeling like you didn't niche down enough, or your niche is too hard to explain. Does this resonate? If this is resonating with you, then go ahead and put yes in the comments below so I can see whether you're watching live or you're watching the replay. I'll be coming back around and taking a look at what everyone posts. And this is why I'm kicking off a 4-part series on Facebook Live. Today is part number 1 on, is my niche profitable? That question that we're all wondering, right? And today we're going to be diving into one specific piece of it that is the first most important part, and that is, does my niche need to be more specific? I know this is important because this is something that comes up a lot in my clients, and I posted a post in my Facebook group, The Unforgettable Coaches, last week giving support around telling people if they posted their niche, if it was specific enough for people to want to pay them for it. And I got a lot of interest in that. So I know that this is an important topic. And if you're feeling this, you are not alone at all, just so you know. All right. And if you think that this is an important topic that your other entrepreneur friends would benefit from getting a little support around, then I would be so appreciative if you would go and click the share button and share this video so that other people can see it as we're going through live, or the replay. That's totally cool too. And I'm going to do the same exact thing, take my own advice, and share the video right now myself so that we can dive in. All right. Unforgettable Coaches. All right, and done. Nice. All right. So who am I, in case you aren't familiar with me yet? My name is Adria DeCourt, and I am the host of the Unforgettable podcast. I'm also a TEDx speaker. I love using my voice to support people, to share my message, to help other people share their message. And I help women to get clear on what it is they do, and then communicate why their ideal clients need them so that people are excited to pay them and they make money and get out there attracting their ideal clients, doing the work that they love doing. So I see we've got Tessie. So glad you're joining us. Yay. And Lisa and Stephanie. Fabulous. This is going to be really fun today. And as I mentioned, last week I did a little Coaching Corner post in my Unforgettable Coaches Facebook group on post your niche, and I'll let you know if it's too broad or if it needs to be more specific for people to want to pay for it. And I got a lot of interest in that. And so I know from that experience, I know from the past, I know from my own clients that this is an important topic, and that's why I'm talking about this today. And a little bit later on in this broadcast, I'm going to be sharing with you 4 examples of actual niches from actual coaches that they asked for feedback from me and on whether it was specific enough. And I'm going to be sharing exactly what my feedback is, go a little bit deeper into that, and share what the tweaks are to really hone this in to make it specific in the way that people want to pay for it. Because that's really what's most important, right? It's not about making your niching down for the sake of niching down. It's about allowing the right people to hear you. That's what's important here. Okay. Oh, hey, Jonah. Glad you're here. Awesome. You may notice I have a little raspy voice. I've been sick for the last week. I'm finally coming back into the world. I went to the gym right before this. So I'm like, okay, here we are. I'm alive again. Going back out of the world. Okay. So if you have any insights or any questions as we go, then go ahead and drop them into the chat, whether you're watching live or you're watching the replay, and I will either get to them at the end or I'll get to them as it makes sense as we go through this. All right, so let's dive in. The problem is that I often see coaches get a little bit broad and generic with their niche. So maybe you just came out of a coach training program, or you really want to hang up your shingle and you're so excited about this work and you just want to support people to find their purpose and have a better life and all these different things. But the issue is that when you start using language like that and you don't get too specific, then nobody really listens. They don't know that you're talking to them unless you're using language that cues them into that. And so that's part of what we're talking about today. And often what happens with coaches in this situation, it's not like, I mean, you're smart, you're good at what you do. It's not like you're not, right? It's most of the time either you don't realize what you're doing because you're so empowered and excited about things, or you're worried about niching down and losing people because you get too narrow and you just want to be able to help everyone. You're like, well, my work can help those people and those people and those people, and I don't want to cut anyone out. So this is often what happens, the two different reasons that your niche might be a little bit broad or generic. All right, so the problem with that is, like I said, nobody ends up paying attention, and you want the right people to pay attention. You want to get the right people on board and wanting to pay for your work, feeling like it's valuable enough that they want to drop some money on this because they know that you can help them and they know this is a problem that they're willing to pay for. All right, so the solution to this is to make your niche specific enough that the people who need you listen up when you talk. What I mean by that is that you gotta be able to talk about your work in a way that those people are raising their hands, that they're like, that their ears perk up when you mention something about what they're struggling with. When you talk about what you do, they're like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I've been looking for. That's exactly what I'm struggling with right now. And here's an example, okay? This example came actually from one of my past clients. It was a pretty good example. She said that if I posted on Facebook, hey, women, you know, it's like 50% of the population, maybe nobody would pay attention because they'd be like, well, is she talking to me? I don't know. I don't really care. But if she posted on Facebook, hey, mothers of 3, then you better believe that any mother of 3 would kind of be looking further at the post and being like, okay, well, what is this? Is this for me? Like, this sounds like maybe she's talking to me. Let's hear more. And that's exactly what I mean about getting a little bit more specific so that the right people are hearing what you're saying. All right, so let's get into some exact examples. Hey, Chanel, glad you're here too. We got some really good people on this. Awesome, yay. All right. Okay, so let me share what Cassandra posted in the Unforgettable Coaches Facebook group when I did a little bit of niche support in there last week. She said, I'm redefining because I have felt too broad, but I want to now think about focusing on life transition. I want to work with people who are stuck. They're unclear. They know that they want more, but need confidence and help and support to get there. Great, right? This sounds very similar to, well, I mean, not similar in that you're not special and unique, Cassandra, but this sounds like the same kind of heart-centered, I want to get out there and help people talk that I hear a lot. And it's fabulous. It has a beautiful heart behind it, right? And so this is on a great track, but here's what I would say, that this is still not specific enough. Even though you're targeting now to life transition, it's not specific enough because unless you name that a life transition, nobody's going to listen up. They're not going to know that you're talking about them because we never think about it as I'm going through a life transition. We think about it as I'm going through a divorce, or I'm going through a midlife crisis, or menopause, or moving, or death of a loved one. There's a lot of different types of transition. And so if you name that type of transition, then you're suddenly going to get those people listening. But if you don't name it, nobody's going to really feel like you're talking to them, and they're probably not even going to listen. You see the power of narrowing in so that people listen up? It's pretty crazy. All right. Yep, we got Regina here now. Awesome. Welcome. Okay, so that's an important piece that goes along with that. If you're deciding to niche down and you're choosing something, but it's just think about it. If what you're choosing is still a little bit broad, because the people you actually want to help wouldn't identify with that. Just take a moment and think about that, if this applies to you. And then my question for you is, how can it get narrower? And I know that I have had, and I did a podcast interview with her, one of my past clients, Kathy Cochran. When we started working together, she wanted to work with people around life transitions. And she worked with them around their health and their digestion. And it was when we decided that it was going to be around divorce, specifically, that she started to get a lot more traction and opportunities coming to her and people understanding and remembering what it was she did. So something to keep in mind that's really important. Okay, let's jump to another example so that we can kind of keep these juices flowing and keep moving forward. All right, Jonah. Jonah posted in my group, he said he helps those who have pain and conflict with a loved one constructively respond to it in ways that are healing and connecting. And I know Jonah, and I know he's a relationship coach, and he has some beautiful tools, and he's fabulous at what he does. And he leads workshops. So there's a lot of, pieces around that. But one of the things that I noticed when I heard this was that it would be a lot more powerful if the language was shifted to being more visual and less broad, less life coachy words like pain and conflict. Those are like single words, right? But those words don't mean as much unless they're attached to something a lot more concrete and visual. So what does this actually look like? If it looks like fighting all the time with their partner, then it might become something like, I help people locked in endless loops of fights with the person they love to reconnect with their partner so that they can ... You see how it gets more specific? So then if you are that person who has been endlessly fighting, you're like, oh, okay, I want to read a little bit more. I want to look a little bit more into this person because I really need support on this. And this is something that I need to solve. This is urgent. So Jonah actually came back with a little bit more specificness around what he was specifically thinking. And I want to share this with you because it's kind of beautiful. So he said he was playing with something and he wanted to share it. So it was, how people who are very sweet-natured can at times feel overpowered by their more extroverted partners, family members, and coworkers. Well, I help them speak up with more assertiveness so they get what they really want out of life while still staying true to themselves. So if you resonate with that, go ahead and put I resonate in the comments, whether you're watching live or the replay. Because when I first read that, I was like, hey, this is actually sounds like something I feel like I've been dealing with a little bit in my own life and wondering what I should do about this. And so that was the first cue that maybe this is a little bit more specific and targeted of a niche that is actually more effective. Sounds beautiful, right? It's a lot more powerful. It's a lot more connected to something that people might be feeling and might be going through. And it pulls to mind a specific type of person too. And it shows how well Jonah knows his people, that he knows that this is what they're experiencing. And it's specific, it's tangible, it's not jargony anymore, it's not using specific terminology that's life coachy, or that only other life coaches would really like cue into, because I see a lot of things like saying, I help you remove limiting beliefs or remove blocks or things like that. Like, your ideal clients probably aren't going to get what you mean and not going to be like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting for someone to help me like release my limiting beliefs. Probably not, right? So you got to like clear out some of that extra language that's going to keep people from knowing that you're for them. Okay, and just one thing that I might add with this, with Jonah's example, which was already beautiful, is just you can peel back the layers a little bit further even. What happens because they're overpowered? Do they continuously feel drained because they're not getting their needs met? Are they starting to feel resentful of their partner? Like, you can go a little bit deeper even with that. Not to the point of getting stuck and perfecting your niche that you don't move forward. I'm all about imperfect action. You can totally evolve it as you go, as you see what people need from you. But these are some beautiful starting points so that you get out the gate in a way that really helps you connect with people and helps you show people, why they should pay for this work. Why, helps them uncover why this is so urgent to them. That they need this support, because they can't get this. It's a strange thing, right? That even if we need a certain type of support, we actually need support in taking the step to get that support. We need you as the coach to talk to us and share with us what you do in a way that we know why we need you, and that it pulls out the reason we need this support so we can take that step and step into what we really need. Often, people who need your support might be walking around knowing that they want to problem solve, but not really even knowing that they could get support in it. So that's why communication, and this clear communication and meeting them on their level of what it is they're looking for and what their language is so powerful. All right, let's jump into another example. This is really fun. Post below, post in the comments, this is helping. If you feel like this is helping you and you're getting something out of this. And if you have a specific insight, go ahead and post it too. I love hearing those things. I love knowing what makes you tick. I love knowing that what I'm doing is actually helping you. I see a lot of hearts and a lot of likes as I'm going through this, and I really appreciate that. It helps me know that I'm on the right track. So thank you. Awesome. And I see Regina has a post here too. So I will definitely get to that a little bit more towards the end and give you a little support around that, Regina, around the niche. Fabulous. Cool. Okay, so Jonah says he loves the suggestions that I gave him. He says, I'm amazing. Why, thank you, Jonah. Thank you. You're amazing too. I love what you do. I love that you have such heart that you want to put out there and support people with. It's fabulous. Okay, let's look at Stephanie, what Stephanie said, because she has a really great one too that I think for a lot of us will resonate. Okay, so she said that she keeps saying that she works with women who are seeking a mindset transformation to discover their own unique radiance. And she truly wants to find more of these women, but she feels like she's been shooting darts in the dark and just working with everyone and anyone. And she said that maybe she's just not sure how to speak to that woman. So let's unpack this a little bit. Okay, she says, I work with women who are seeking a mindset transformation to discover their own unique radiance. So there's a couple things happening here. Two suggestions I have. One is, yes, I think that there's some niche honing to do, which would be, why are they seeking this? What is the problem that you're solving for them? What are they struggling with? And we're going to talk next week on part 2 of this series. We're going to talk a little bit more on the problem you solve and on how to construct talking about what you do and your niche in a way that you're setting it up for people to want to pay for it right off the bat. We're going to talk more about that next week. So stay tuned. That'll be next Thursday at 12 p.m. PST, in case you can't stay to the end of the broadcast, where I'll be sharing a little bit more about that. And okay, so let's dive back into this. Okay, so women who are seeking a mindset transformation to discover their own unique radiance. Does this sound like familiar language? If you're a life coach, this is another one that's super heart-based, beautiful. I know she has so much power and force behind it. And yet it's, as she's saying, it's really not connecting to the right people, and she feels like she's just working with everyone, and she wants to find more of these women. And really, when I hear that, what I think is she wants to draw more of these women to her by having a really clear and compelling niche that connects to them. Okay, so part number 1 was honing your niche in terms of finding the problem you solve, when we're going to talk more about that next week. So my question right now around this, my follow-up is, I think I already shared, honestly, but I'll reiterate. What is the problem that this solves? Why are they seeking a mindset transformation? What's going on in their lives right now that is making this necessary? Those are really important key follow-up questions to this, because they're not just seeking it out of nowhere. And if you know the reason, you're a lot closer to connecting to them, and a lot closer to being able to know how to speak in the language that they're going to be like, oh, she's talking to me. That's what I've been looking for. All right. I see Stephanie is here, and she says, yes. All right. So my second piece to this one is, my second recommendation is shifting the way that you talk about your work. Because what I see here is a lot of flowery, life coach, beautiful language. And while it's beautiful, it makes it hard for people who aren't life coaches themselves and who haven't worked with you yet to know what it is you do. It becomes a little bit convoluted for those people because they don't have the same mental database of language that we do if we've been in this coaching industry, or we've been in the trenches of the self-development world. They don't have that same language. And even if they did, like, I have that language, and I still have to, like, think for a moment about what it is you mean, and be like, I have to, like, translate it in my mind into, like, normal into 7-year-old language, I guess I should say. So that's my second recommendation, is how can you say this in a way that isn't flowery or clever? How can you just say what it is? And I think knowing the problem you solve will go a lot closer to being able to know how to craft that when we talk about that next week. So yeah, and I did a podcast episode on this on my Unforgettable podcast called Why Flowery Language Can Actually Hurt Your Business. I'll drop the link to that into the chat in case you want to check that out. There we go. It's in the chat. That's a great follow-up if you notice that maybe this is you. Maybe you've been talking about it this way. Maybe you've been using some flowery language, which is totally common. It's way more common, especially for life coaches, but even for health coaches or relationship coaches or even some business coaches, it's common for us to use this language. So it's not like you're singled out or different or anything. But if you want to be more powerful, and if you want to be like really compelling to the people that you want to hire you, then this is something worth looking at. Okay, I know when I shared this with Stephanie before, she said she had been totally feeling like maybe this was the problem. So yeah, fabulous. And right now she's in the chat saying, thank you, Adria, so helpful. Perfect. All right. And my last example I want to get to now, because I think this one will kind of like tie it up with a bow. And then I want to go back to what Regina had said. So I'm like covering all my bases. And if you have questions, feel free to put them in the comments, whether you're watching live or the replay, because I want to get to those things. Okay, Lisa is the last real life coach example that I want to share today around her niche. And she, let's see. So she said, I would love your thoughts on the following. We help executives and professionals get unstuck. Is that too broad? We want to stand out amongst the Facebook clutter in more of an exclusive category, so I welcome your expertise. So yes, Lisa, definitely I think that is too broad. And I think it goes back to some of the things that I was saying earlier around around the language and around connecting to what it is they're looking for. So hopefully you see, if you've been watching this from the beginning, hopefully you see a theme and a trend in the advice that I'm sharing here. I see Felicia has joined us. Hey, Felicia, nice to see you. Okay, so with Lisa's example, we help executives and professionals get unstuck. It feels a little generic. I'm not gonna lie, it does. And I know that Lisa and her partner, her husband, they partnered together, are fabulous coaches. I know that they have great heart and they're good at what they do, and I know they work with fabulous clients. And if they want to draw more people in based on how they're talking about it, and it sounds like they want to stand out on Facebook, then it's going to be a lot more powerful if they get more specific and tangible in what they're saying so that people pay more attention to it. So some follow-up questions that I had for Lisa were, you should be familiar with this by now, what problem do you solve for them? How does being stuck hold them back? And then I asked Lisa that, and she went ahead, being a type A achieving lady, and she shared with me answers some of her clients had to those questions. So client number one's perspective was like, and there was a huge list of different things that people had responded with, but I'm just going to share a few of them because that's enough for me to give the advice I want to give in a moment. Okay, so client number one said that Lisa and her partner help him to see more clearly and to understand the situation. Client number two said they help the client remove the non-important noise and barriers to understand what the real challenge is. And then they build a strategy to solve it. And they zero in on what the actual issue is. Client number three said they help with day-to-day issues that come up. They help handle things as an employee. They help with confrontational issues. Okay, so what I have to say about all these different things, and Lisa, I hope that you get to watch the replay. I'll go ahead and tag you in this. I don't think you're live right now, but you might be, because this is a big deal. Okay, so here's what I'm about to say. All of those answers are all the tools that you use to solve the problem. So they're not actually as important. I mean, they're important to doing your job. They're important to helping your people, but they're not as important to getting people to want to work with you. So we're going to be diving in deeper into that next week on the problem you solve, and I'll start with this example and we can kind of pick it apart further as we go through that. So we'll kind of have a part two analysis on Lisa's question. But that's one thing that I want you to think about, Lisa and anyone else who's watching, is are you talking about what you do in a way that you're talking about some of these things like we build a strategy around it, we zero in what the actual issue is, we help with confrontational issues. Like these are all your tools that can solve a lot of different problems. But your niche is the actual problem you solve. So does that make sense? If you're here live or if you're on the replay, go ahead in the chat, just say that makes sense so I know you're with me and you hear me and this is clear to you. If you need clarification, if you're unsure or something's a little hazy for you, ask that question now. And I will respond, whether you're live or on the replay. Either way, I will be here. Okay. Oh, Stephanie says, makes so much more sense. Awesome. Fabulous. Okay. So before we wrap up, I want to go back to what Regina had said. So Regina had posted in the comments, I didn't want to niche down for so many years. I would meet people that would say, I wish that was available for XYZ niche. So I would adapt my services. Now I realize growth cannot happen without the first niche, then expanding your services. I have never felt so comfortable in my business as I do currently. And this is a great way for us to kind of tie up what we're doing today with a bow. That if you want to get known, If you want to get known online, if you want to get known for your coaching services in your community, then the most powerful thing you can do is to get known for one thing. It's really hard to get known if you're getting known for 5 things, plus it's a lot of extra work. But if you start by getting known for one thing, if you start by focusing your energy on one thing and getting it specific so people know what it is you do, then you can layer on another thing to get known for. But one thing at a time if you want to not go crazy, and if you want people to actually remember what you do and to be drawing in those ideal clients. So that is the last piece of really important advice that I will share with you. Okay, so in the meantime, before next week, before we jump on to part 2 of this series, which I'm excited about, if you want support on your niche, then type "yes, I want support on my niche" into the chat box, and then come on over. I'm going to drop the link to the Facebook post that I did in the Facebook group, so that since I'm putting this on my main Facebook page, if there's anyone who wants a little bit of this support, like for me to tell you if your niche is too broad and give you one question to think about in order to hone it in a little bit further, go ahead and go over to that post in the group and post it, and I'll give you a little bit of feedback on it. This is my jam. I like doing this. And then next week, come and join me again. It's going to be next Thursday, January 25th at 12 p.m. PST, which is 3 p.m. EST. I will be live again, same place, different time, different day, but same place. And if you found this valuable and you shared this video, then I so appreciate it. I love that. I love getting to meet new people and bring people that are the right people into my world. You can tag someone in the comments if you want to. And I will close by sharing what Stephanie shared in the comments. She said, "My thoughts on niche has always been more of a demographic, and my explanation of it being the actual problem you solve makes so much more clear and easier to have an actual niche that makes sense to me." Fabulous! I love that feedback. Thanks, Stephanie. Alrighty. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that I will see you next week on part number 2 in this Is My Niche Profitable series that I'm doing here on Facebook Live on my Facebook page. If you want to be notified of me going live, go ahead and click follow. I think that's what you click on this video. I think there's somewhere that you can click follow to make sure that you see that. If not, at least like my page so that it's easy to find it again. All right. So that is enough for now. Go ahead, if you have any other questions, you can go ahead and post them on this thread. And if you want support on your niche, hop on over to the Facebook group using the link that I shared so that we can do that. Alrighty, ta-ta for now.